Fraxses Pangolin, version 5.0.0 Release Notes. The latest Fraxses release, Pangolin, is named after one of the most unique and distinctive mammals on Earth. The pangolin's resilience, adaptability, and unique protective mechanism evoke Fraxses' reliability, versatility, and robust security features, making this creature a worthy inspiration for the new release. These release notes provide a summary of the key improvements in the Pangolin release. Pangolin brings a series of enhancements to the Lego's front end, specifically to the object builder that serves as the hub where Fraxses users interact with data. These improvements include session persistence, canvas utilization, and the new object workspace. The background jobs modal has been renamed from publication status to background jobs, and augmented to display the full error detail if a data object publication package failed. The security in account management has been enhanced. The new Data Connectors module makes it easier to configure data connectors for a variety of data sources. The Create Data Source modal now includes a new Create Views Only checkbox that enables users to create and discover tables as views, rather than tables for the same Spark instance on which Fraxses is running. The newly introduced Fraxses Log Wrapper component manages all logging and tracing for microservices. Traces and logs are sent to a consumer, the Analytics and Interactive Visualization web application Grafana, by default, on namespace Fraxses Monitor. This enhancement enables the system to utilize an external Azure Event Hub as the Kafka component, thus providing an alternative to the bundled Kafka that ships with Fraxses. This integration provides a more scalable and native Kafka experience for users leveraging Azure Event Hubs. Nucleus enables organizations to integrate Fraxses with their existing Spark infrastructure in Azure Databricks, rather than deploying the bundled Spark within a Fraxses cluster. This provides greater flexibility for users who already utilize Azure Databricks as part of their data ecosystem. Pangolin introduces key enhancements to the Lego's front end, specifically to the object builder, which significantly improve user interaction. These include improved information display and navigation, a larger object builder canvas, an enhanced entity preview process, data object display improvements, a new object workspace, the ability to create customized joins between entities, the addition of an enhanced search mechanism, and of course, session persistence. Let's take a closer look at the object builder enhancements in Pangolin. Improved information display and navigation. The tab view bar has been streamlined to allow for a cleaner display with fewer tabs. Rather than automatically loading in an additional tab when a data object is opened, as was previously the case, a data object's pedigree is now accessed by selecting the Data Pedigree option in the Object menu. Data objects' display names are now represented as the base header code with the version in brackets, allowing for more space on the tab view bar. The organization and role code of the object is now shown on the Object Builder canvas. If the bar is full, Pangolin's improved navigation allows users to select data objects from a drop-down rather than by scrolling. Larger Object Builder canvas. Both the Lego's menu and object library can now be collapsed. This significantly increases the size of the Object Builder canvas, making it easier for users to work with data objects that contain numerous fields. In order to maximize the available real estate on the Object Builder canvas, the object library can now be minimized horizontally by clicking the double arrow icon next to its label. When the object library is in use, all of the sublevels can now be expanded or collapsed vertically. To expand all the sublevels, select the double open arrow icon on the extreme right of the Object Library heading. To collapse all the sublevels, select the double closed arrow icon. Lastly, it is also possible to drag the Object Library and Object Workspace components vertically. Entity Preview process. Entities are now grouped by data source in the Object Builder library. The entities list can be collapsed or expanded independently, making it easy for users to locate the entities for the specific data source they are working with. Remember, a limited table view can be accessed using the preview option provided. This allows for a more efficient preview process while reducing the load on the system, making it easier to handle large datasets. Data Object Display. When a data object is added to the canvas, only its entity's header information is displayed by default, thus providing a clear overview without cluttering the canvas. A drop-down allows users to adjust the view from only headers to only used fields, or alternatively all fields. Two view modes are also now available. The Modify mode, which is the standard configuration view when modifying a created or checked out object, and the View mode. This view mode mirrors the usual configuration view, but all functionality is disabled, making it strictly for viewing purposes only. This is available on published objects and unions by selecting the Object Builder View option from the pop-up menu. A new pathfinding function known as Smart Paths has been introduced. These are paths that navigate around headers in the canvas where possible. When Smart Paths is disabled, links are drawn with no regard for header locations. The function can be turned on or off using the Smart Paths checkbox at the top right of the screen. Turning Smart Paths on minimizes intersections between paths, thus ensuring that links are easy to follow and understand. There is also a new function to provide automatic layout for optimized object placement. Selecting it will change the layout of the canvas to optimize the object placement. This is useful in cases where objects may be accidentally placed outside the canvas area, making it difficult to find them. The Object Workspace. The Object Builder features a new object workspace that displays the attributes of the data objects on the canvas. It allows for a data object to be configured by simply expanding it in the object workspace and selecting the fields to be included. When an individual data object is selected on the canvas, only that object's fields are expanded in the object workspace. A search function enables users to enter values by which to filter, making it easy to locate objects that contain the fields they require. Creating relationships between tables. Data objects on the canvas can now be linked by dragging a line from one data object's link icon to that of the object it will be linked to. This opens a Create Relationship modal, pre-populated with header codes based on the selection, from which attribute codes can be selected before saving the relationship. Relationships can also be created by dragging a line directly from one field to another. This results in the Create Relationships modal opening, with attributes already set. These can be readily adjusted if required. Advanced Search. The Object Library's new Advanced Search feature enables users to quickly locate specific information by filtering and searching across various fields. It provides the same search functionality as that which is available from the Data Objects menu, but offers the additional option to apply the filters directly to the Object Builder library. Selecting the lookup icon closes the Advanced Search modal and refreshes the Object Builder library, with the data objects, unions, entities, and workspaces lists filtered accordingly. Session Persistence. With the introduction of session persistence in Pangolin, all data objects in the Object Builder remain open and in the same state for the duration of the current session. This significantly improves workflow, especially when working with multiple data objects. More info. The More Information screen has been improved by replacing the previous Release Notes section with a more comprehensive history view. This new feature provides users with a detailed log of all status changes associated with each data object version. The history view makes it easy to track when these changes occurred, allowing for a clear understanding of the development timeline. Additionally, the log specifies who actioned each change, thus providing insights into the individuals responsible for the updates. This level of transparency not only enhances accountability, but also allows for better communication among team members. That brings us to the end of this section on Object Builder enhancements that have been introduced in Pangolin. Next, we'll discuss background jobs. Background jobs was previously known as publication status. On the background job screen, when viewing the details of a failed data object publication package, it is now possible to view the full error details by selecting the exclamation icon in the Error Details column of the Details modal. This detailed error information can be used to resolve any problems with specific data objects that cause the publication process to fail. The system now treats the Cache Now function as a background job, and all relevant caching information is now displayed in the background job screen, with a request type of Cache Now. Account Management Security. The user creation process has been enhanced to check whether a user already exists in the system. When a user's email address is entered, the system checks whether it already exists for another organization. If it does, the relevant account information will be pre-populated. Once all mandatory fields have been populated, the Save and Manage Roles button can be selected. This opens the Linked Roles modal, where new organization role combinations can be linked to the user. When a new user account is created, its primary organization will default to the organization of the logged-on user who created the account. In other words, if user A is logged on as organization A, then when this user creates the account of user B, that account will also be linked to organization A. The user's grid is now filtered to only display records for the organization the user is linked to and logged in as. Integrating data from a variety of sources and making it accessible for analysis and reporting is a challenge for many organizations, and this is where the power of Pangolin's data connectors comes to the fore. This new screen is accessed from the Data Connectors submenu under the Master Data menu option. A grid displays showing all existing connectors, with a variety of function buttons that will launch individual modals to perform specific actions on an existing data connector. To add a new data connector, select the Create button. A short user guide provides information on configuring a data connector, while detailed instructions and specific driver requirements can be obtained from the CData website using the link provided. The required fields are completed on the Properties tab. The options are set based on your use case. Selecting the Spark checkbox on the data connector will enable the Create Views Only option on the data source itself, enabling users to create discovered tables as views rather than tables for the same Spark instance on which Fraxses is running. The Parameter Types tab defines parameter names, default values, and execution order, and can be created as required. In the Discovery Settings tab, the relevant connection strings are entered, together with any required licensing information for seamless integration. The connection configuration can be fine-tuned to restrict discovery to specific schemas, tables, or views, ensuring optimal performance and security. The Security tab is used to manage access to data connectors, controlling permissions for specific organizations and roles. Once a data connector exists, it will be present in the Data Type dropdown on the Create Data Source modal for those organization roles to which access has been granted, and can be used to create the associated data source. In allowing for disparate data sources to be connected with minimal effort, Pangolin's data connectors ensure real-time access to critical business information, enabling informed decision-making and enhancing overall efficiency. Data sources. On the Data Sources screen, you'll find a new option called Create Views Only. This feature should only be enabled when connecting to a Spark data source, ensuring that any discovered tables are created as views rather than traditional tables. Remember, views can only be discovered for the same Spark instance on which Fraxses runs. Next, the data sources process has been enhanced by the reintroduction of a test connection function. Once a data source is selected, the button will activate, allowing for the connection to be tested. A success message will be displayed if the configuration is correct, providing immediate feedback on the connection status. Lastly, a new Validate Data Source function has been introduced. When a data source is rediscovered, this new function can be used to validate all data objects using that data source. Selecting the Validate Data Source button will start a background job which can be monitored from the Background Jobs screen. Logging and tracing. The Pangolin release includes a new logging component that manages all logging and tracing for microservices. Traces and logs are sent to a consumer, the Analytics and Interactive Visualization web application Grafana, by default, on namespace Fraxses Monitor. This change affects communication between Kafka and Fraxses microservices. Lego's data and coordinator still manage their own logging and tracing, and communicate directly with Kafka. However, all other components now utilize the new communication method. Azure Events Hub. Pangolin allows for an external Azure Event Hub to be used as the Kafka cluster, thus providing an alternative to the bundled Kafka that ships with Fraxses. This integration gives organizations that leverage Azure Event Hubs a more scalable and native Kafka experience. Nucleus. This release also provides support for Fraxses to run on an external Azure Databricks Spark environment. This gives organizations that have existing Spark infrastructure and utilize Azure Databricks the flexibility to integrate Fraxses into their existing data ecosystem, rather than having to deploy the bundled Spark within a Fraxses cluster. As with many of the enhancements and functions that have been incorporated over the course of the Fraxses platform's evolution, several of Pangolin's new features have been introduced in response to client demand. After all, who better than the users who rely on Fraxses every day to provide input on where the platform can be improved? We are confident that the new features will find favor with both seasoned and new Fraxses users, and that the Pangolin release will measure up to the exceptional creature from which it takes its name. Thank you for watching.